All right, and now we are ready to proceed. So, together with Mitre, we founded a B2B fintech startup called GetFlash. We are targeting US market, and we are tackling frictions in B2B transactions. Those are basically account payables, account receivables, credit limits, and our target uh, customer. Actually, we are on discovery stage, so we are discovering several market segments. Those are suppliers, um, merchants who buy from major suppliers, small businesses, and B2B marketplaces. And since we are on early stage, we do such discovery interviews with the market experts, with people in the industry, financial executives who deal with B2B transactions on daily basis, has past expertise in helicopter view. That's why, Leoncio, your experience like super impactful for us, and your insights would be like really appreciated. And today I wanted to ask a few questions to figure out what frictions you see in the industry, based on mostly your uh, last experience. As I understand, that's uh, agriculture tech supplier, right? So
Yes.
let's maybe get started on that experience. Could you just briefly explain what the company does and what you are exactly doing this company in terms of, interaction with other businesses, uh, APs, ARs, and do you mostly like pay, or do you supply and collect payments? So what's your responsibility here in this area so that I can ask some specific questions? So yeah, floor is yours. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Leoncio Lopez. You can call me Leo. I think it's easier to say Leo instead of Leoncio because it's more difficult. So I'm been working for around 21 years in the finance sector, in finance industry. My background is also finance. So in my current company and in my past companies, I used to work in the finance side as a finance director currently. I'm responsible and I work with customers, vendors, and distributors in our cases. And this relation that you mentioned is practically on daily basis. I mean, I have some vendors that are related for the products. We are dedicated to import fertilizers from the US. We are a fertilizers company right now, and we distribute across the country, and we're starting also distributing in the regional part of the Latin America. I'm based currently in Mexico City, in Mexico. So we are doing this business also with Latin America, except from Brazil, which is a big country. Uh, we have also some relations with distributors as a customers. We don't have debt currently in this company. That's why we don't pay any loans, or we don't have any relation with banks or funds companies. But not in this experience, but in my past experience, hopefully you saw that I was also in Payclip when they were a startup in Mexico. They also in the mobile payment industry in B2B. And I have more experience aligned with what you are looking for right now. So because my past experiences, for example, in big companies like Unilever, which is a global company, and Jose Cuervo, which is the tequila company, also are huge companies that they have more structured the processes for the P2P or the order to cash.
I see. So yeah, that's absolutely, impressive experience in this particular B2B field. So Yeah, we're happy to have you today on the call. Let me, yeah, absolutely. So, am I right that you are mostly on manufacturer or supplier side, and or there are also like some experiences applicable where you purchase in bulk in wholesale, or you mostly like supply and on kind of.
Let me tell you, I can divide my career in both sides. In the first side is for the global companies that I mentioned, Unilever, Jose Cuervo. On that experiences, I used to be more like an executor of the operation. But in the second half of my experience with a smaller companies like Payclip, Vitalmex, and my current company is more like be involved in all the processes. I mean, since the purchase all the relation with the vendors and payment to the vendors on that side. Also, on this recent experience, I have not only relation with the vendors, also with the customers, because this size of companies allow me to have that involvement and and to have that approach to the vendors, to the distributors, and to the customers.
I see. Well, yeah, that's super impressive. Let me maybe like make the field of our in kind of discovery to make a bit narrow, uh, so that we are so that we focus. Right now, we talk to like maybe 60, 70 different vendors, suppliers, merchants, marketplaces, and found out that we want to tackle either APAR management, uh, or
Okay.
also such thing as credit limit. Credit limit means that one side provides goods and wants to products to be paid, uh, maybe not instantly, but on specific terms, and sets some particular limit. And the other side, the payer side, wants to get those limit to postpone payments, but uh, uh, pay in time. So the first question of mine would be, you mostly worked on like cross-border market, right? When manufacturing
Yes.
on Mexico and supply to, let's say, US, Canada, and North America,
Right.
right? In this,
Yes.
in this,
In
Mhm.
our case, sorry. In
Sure,
my case, it is to international suppliers like China, Russia, India, who are the main suppliers. Also, to the US when we have some process production that is not the raw materials that we have from the US.
I see. In this case, does this, terms work for such kind of operations? I mean, that's, mm, operations between two countries, but on the in the same region. Does that work like net 30, net 60, or it's something different? Because in US inside, that's exactly what we are investigating and what we are discovering. They mostly all of them work on terms, right? They have terms like net 30, net 60. Do you have terms when you supply to US?
Yeah, it depends of the type of service of type of goods that we are receiving. Also, with the aging that we have working with the vendors. I mean, the time that we have in the relation between the vendor and customer. So it could be since cash payment, so zero aging, up to 120. For example, big companies like Walmart in Mexico, they can give you 120, 180 depending of the supplier. So when you are a new supplier for those kind of companies, the payment is very high. So in terms of aging, but some cases like my current company, they have a variance between the suppliers, and it depends of the type of service. For example, in our case, the freight I cannot pay over 60 days, so I need to pay between 7 to 15 days as maximum. But
I
there
see.
are products that I pay 90 days or 60 days. It depends of what type of vendor we are talking.
I see. What's the like biggest in terms of number of customers? segment? Is it like corporations, middle-sized business, maybe smaller companies? Who your customers are? Could you please just briefly describe, give just general idea?
It's a mix. So
Mix.
we practically cover the three segments. So the agriculture in this case, the middle-sized distributors and big distributors.
And let's maybe focus on middle and smaller businesses.
Yep.
That's maybe the companies who we are targeting. And for that kind of companies, what standard terms you offer when you supply goods? Let's say the new company appears and wants to buy something from you. So what's the general terms? Yeah,
For this market, Alex, is complicated for the big insurance companies that they cover for the credit risk. So they are some of I mean, we you have a great opportunity there because they can comply with the process of selling, but the banks or the financial companies they don't assume that kind of risk. And most of the companies they don't allow to have a aging above 30 days because they are small. And specifically in Mexico, it is related that they don't have a finance history that allow them to show that they are capable to pay. Also, they don't have probably a bank records or a long bank records to show that they have the capacity. So those kind of companies have these kind of services that help them also to grow, but not by the traditional bank or the traditional factoring companies. It is happening with the new companies like you, for example.
I see. And you mentioned that you involve in this like operation with new um, merchant, with new client, customer.
Yes,
You involve insurance company, right?
yes.
Or how it works actually? What the scheme? Is it like on Mexico side or on US side? And how it works? Could you please just give step by step, um, picture how it actually works? So let's assume there is like a new customer in US. It's middle-sized business. It wants to buy on average order value, and what happens next?
Now, most of these cases are managed locally
Yep,
because we have a big barrier with the US. Most of the US don't cover these kind of suppliers, but because they see that are a high risk. This is managed locally because most of the companies knows the business model for this kind of companies, and they assume the risk locally. And that is what we currently live with these kind of customers. Sorry, with these kind of vendors.
I see. And if you are a vendor, if you are a supplier, so let's say there is a customer who wants to buy from you for like 100K some fertilizers, and customer is in the US. So how it would work? Let's say they say we want to buy, I don't know, like $1 million deal or $500,000 deal, but we want to pay you in 30 days, in 60 days, give us like net 60 terms. How would you negotiate this kind of uh, transaction? Would you involve any bank or credit insurance company, or how it's gonna, or just you know check, estimate the risk, and go ahead, giving them 60 days net term? So how it would work?
Yeah, on my current company is not applicable because we need to refer to the US company because we have operation in the US as well. But in a normal operation, we have that case. We need to provide the terms based on the analysis that are run for the customer. If they have a long time working with us or is a new customer, it depends what is the guarantee to provide us that they will pay us as a vendor. So that is the analysis that we run in a normal company.
To do this analysis, what kind of information you require from the customer? What do you need to do this?
In Mexico, we use it's like the US. We have a financial records for companies and individuals that we check this for the behavior of the credit that they have. Also, we request the financial statements. Some companies use third parties like agencies to analyze this information. Some of them they have their own credit departments to analyze this and to grant the credit or not, to reject, and also to have some guarantees. Could be in case that it's a big amount, some companies request for guarantees. I mean, to have some money in the bank or to have some notes that are for the company or factoring. So it depends of the case and what the customer can offer to the vendor.
I see. Just to, to figure out, I don't think I understood like 100%. Is that correct that y you kind of don't sell directly to US customers, but maybe you resell to your US company and then this US company sells to US customers? So do you do cross-border operations?
Yes, but not to the US because as we
I
have a
see.
big operation in the US and I'm a subsidiary of the US, so
Hmm.
my focus is more in the Latin American market instead of the US. So it's not doesn't make sense that I sell to the US customer when we have a big infrastructure in
Absolutely.
the US.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just didn't get this, but now it's 100% transparent and clear. Uh, let's talk about two topics. The first one, also, I didn't catch up the idea of how trade insurance company is involved in this kind of operations. Let's talk about like operations inside Mexico. So in which case you involve this kind of companies and is it like how it actually works? I mean, we didn't meet
This
it.
is this is practically recent in recent times that the insurance companies are putting their eyes on these small businesses and individuals because in the past they used to uh, have credit risk insurances for big companies because they have more security about these companies. But this is increasing in Mexico, for example, that they are covering also these kind of businesses. And and they along with the insurance they are also offering financial services like factoring, confirming of those kind of tools, financial tools to have the money back in less time. So uh, the market is changing locally, so and is opening to this kind of vendors and customers to have more coverage on the business.
I
But
see.
this is recent. I mean, in the last 2 years, it doesn't have a lot of time.
Can you maybe name some specific credit insurance companies that you might use or maybe used before, just to learn the services and understand how it actually what they offer?
Yeah, they are doing with Chubb. They are starting with Chubb's insurance company, which is a global company, also with AIG.
Hmm.
Uh, and I don't remember the third one is more local company that they are also covering this kind of risk.
I see. Well, yeah, thanks a lot. I gotta check it, what they offer. And well, the next big topic where I would like to ask like a bit more questions is credit limits. Uh, do you actually apply? Uh, are you asked for providing credit limits when do you have some customers who you have credit limits with? Uh, if it's not like transparent, what I mean by credit limits, let me just shortly explain what I mean. So
No, credit limits are assigned as per the analysis that I mentioned, analyzing the financial statements, also the history of the customer with us, and even if they have some references with other providers
Hmm.
about the commercial relation that they have, and based on this information, because the financial information is the most important, is we assign a credit limit and
I
also a payment term.
Payment term. Okay. But you don't have it by default. It's not like for any customer. It's just
No,
for
no, no, no,
okay.
no.
And does it work for um, how actually the process of providing credit limits work? Do you provide it for new customers, for the customers you used to work or ones who asked you to provide to do so? So could you please just give the whole picture, uh, how you make a decision to provide or not to provide and to whom?
The start point is based on the customer request. The customer doesn't request, we cannot grant the grade. That is the main rule. And in case that the customer request, we analyze the information that I mentioned.
I see. Uh, and if it's a new customer, but the request is pretty, correct, the financial statements is are okay, the references are quite okay. Is there a chance to get it?
Yes.
I see. And what the major, you actually mentioned it, but just to again to clarify, wh- what can kind of what the key factors to provide or not to provide to make a decision? Is that more like reference or more like financial statements, anything else, or maybe previous purchase history? What influences to make a positive decision from your side, or maybe
It
rejection?
is
What's the red
it is
flags?
it is it is a mix of all of them. So
Okay,
every customer has their own behavior and their own case. So we cannot put as a general rule to to all the customers. So it is analyzed case by case, and it depends on what they are offering also to cover this credit risk.
I see. And let's say, what the share of customers who you work on credit limit based? Can you roughly estimate? So,
Could be between 70 to 80%.
hmm, wow, that's quite a lot. And mm, so let's say you provided credit limits. Either any like changing condition change after it's actually granted, maybe increasing credit limits or shrinking. So, uh, what kind of operations could be in renegotiating terms? So,
Yeah, in that case, it is more based in the payment records, if they are paying on time or they having delays. Also, is related to the to the increase of the operation for the customer. If we see that the history is increasing, we can grant more credit. So it depends of those kind of factors that we grant or not more credit.
um, here's like kind of tricky questions for me. I did just don't get it like 100%. We talked to like a lot of, you know, uh, industrial suppliers, and they say they have like 30-day net terms by default. But in some other industries, you have to ask for at least 30-day net terms, and it's not like net terms with no limit. You have to set a limit for providing those net terms. So why in why do you think in some industries they just provide those net terms, but in some industries they don't provide it by default?
I think it depends on the internal policies of each company. I
Mm,
think it's not divided by industry, it's more like the internal policy. So there are companies, it's not frequent that the companies give or grant credit when you are a new customer. It's not the case. But It depends also the relevance of the business that is bringing the customer, not only in terms of sales, also the relevance that has the customer. That is the case that I was telling you about Walmart. Everyone wants to be on the retail
Hmm.
shelter to show their products. So some of these customers and vendors want to have this kind of business relation, and they accept this kind of payment terms. But it doesn't mean that it's the best relation that you are having with this kind of companies. So it depends of the company, the policy, the internal policy, mainly, not the industry.
I
Because in
see.
our case, and most of the cases that I have experienced, the customer needs to come and ask for the credit to receive a credit line. No, it's not in a different way.
I see. Well, could you please maybe just describe the last case of providing credit limit? I mean, with no names, of course, but to understand how it actually happened. Let's say company X requested such specific, terms in for such specific amount, uh, and it took like n days, several days to confirm how the confirmation process worked out, what the answer was, just for us to understand some specific example and the process flow, actually how it happened. That's super interesting and absolutely what we are discovering.
Sure. So I'm talking in a general process, the customer comes and requests for the X amount of credit line. Most of the times they request by a format that they fill and they put, I want $1 million credit line. We receive the financial statements, we receive the financial records. Also, we request the history that they have in purchases with us. And based on this analysis, we define if we can grant the 1 million or we can grant $800,000. It depends, or not more, but this takes in an average of 2 to 3 weeks to grant this. And in our case, this is analyzed currently by the internal credit department. In my past experiences, because our big companies, they used to have third parties to analyze this, agencies. And in case that the customer shows in the financial statements that they have a very high level of commitment of debt, we request for more information and to explain why they have this level of debt. Also, what is the future expectation for purchases, and if we need to sign a contract. So it depends of what we need in a specific to grant this credit. So this is in the general process, but every case it has a specific way to be analyzed.
And who are the guys who actually ask for credit limits from customer side? Are there like owners, financial guys, business people? So who are?
Mainly the owners for small and medium companies. For the big companies, they have their own finance department that they request formally. But for the mid and the small, they are practically the owners.
I see. And from your side, how the uh, risk estimation, how it's called, risk assessment, this approval process actually works. So let's say you received some request with the documents and all seems to be like looking pretty good, but still either what kind of process stands behind it when you receive the entire initial.
So there is a internal analysis process in which the credit risk manager reviews the information. This is approved by the credit manager, and then this is also validated by the insurance company if they are willing to cover that risk or not. In case that the insurance company reject the approval, we cannot. It depends of the reason that they are rejecting. We can manage with the customer or not. Otherwise, we can accept and approve with the customer. So this
I see.
is
I see. And well, that's the last topic of mine, and but maybe like the very important one, receivables management for customers who has credit limit. Is it something in terms of process? Is it something different uh, since you have, to track if they overcome already their limit or not, maybe apply some penalties, maybe not, etc. Is it something different uh, if we compare it with the customers who don't have credit limits, or it's more or less same process, receivables management for guys with credit limits, customers with credit limits?
for the customers that don't have a credit limit assigned, they need to make a cash payment. So there is not
ARs,
a
right?
payment terms, yes. So for the credit customers, they paid or they need to pay when the invoice is overdue. In case that they don't pay, we start the process to claiming the payment. The credit and collections team start the claiming the payment. And in case, it's not our case, but in case that we have the overdue invoice over 30 days as per the internal policy, we need to pass to the external collection agency. In case that we exceed the 90 days as per the policy, we need to transfer these collections to the external agency, and over this, we start a legal claim. So that is the escalation process.
Well, now we talked like to suppliers in terms of credit limit management, and what we see, some of major suppliers see some frictions. I wouldn't say it's like huge problem, but frictions that could cause some losses in terms of, some of companies just manage those ARs and credit limits in, Google spreadsheet, and then they miss receivables or miss the moment when there is an overdue on credit limit, and they lose some money or lose the moment when they have to collect. So may you point out that Дим?
Я слышу, да.
Так, чел отвалился у нас или конференция есть еще? А у тебя оплаченная, да, получается?
Я такой же нищеброд.
Нищеброд-то нищеброд, но... вот, 5 минут. Почему 10 было? 5 минут, все. Блин, надеюсь, переподключится. Окей. Странно, то 10 пишет, то 5. Так, сейчас напишу ему.
Давай уж тогда перезайдем по твоей ссылке. А у тебя есть доступ к новому GetSales, нет?
GetSales нету.
У тебя
Ну,
на
ты не давал
почте.
доступ к моему. Ну, в смысле, мне давал доступ.
Да, просто если вот так кто-то отлетает, чтобы ты мог зайти по имени найти, вдруг если меня нету. А ты на почту, да?
Нет, в Zoom. В этот, в LinkedIn.
Попробуй сейчас зайти в почту к себе, найти Get Sales и зайти туда. Пока сразу все равно сидим, чтобы у тебя были доступы.
Так, по LinkedIn направил. Get Sales. Задача какая? Отправить ему в Get Sales из тебя, да, сообщение?
Ну да, да. Ну, я не знаю, на чем он аккаунте. Да, по-моему, на моем. Может, не на моем, не знаю. Спасибо.
Так,
Карта оплаты.
делаем. Так. Жестко
Да,
прервался.
надо платить. Да, там у тебя важный вопрос остался, да?
Ну, относительно в целом, там 90% спросил, еще чуть-чуть было бы не лишним. Так, люди, Тубинский,
Нашел,
месседжи.
нет?
Так,
Зашел, да, в новую версию?
да, нормально. Зашел, не нашел. Сейчас,
Там сообщение, также кликаешь, и там All Senders.
все
Выбираешь и
нашел.
просто
Все,
Ctrl-F ищешь по имени.
все нашел.
Все, разобрался, да? Если что, заходить, знаешь теперь куда и где сообщение, что за сообщение.
Да, я до этого тоже что-то отправлял.
Ну, ты на
Поэтому
старом же отправлял или на новом тоже отправлял?
не, Диман, ты мне давал доступ, и я на новом отправлял все.
Отправлял, да? Ну, отлично.
Да, было дело. Так, пригласить, копировать ссылку. Так, все, это тоже шло. Теперь что?